Happy Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3-day from us here at SwitchForce to you wonderful people out there. The game is out now on the Australian eShop. It'll be out at midnight in the American eShop and everywhere in the world. We have been playing it for hours now. We had a 3-hour stream this morning and we had a ton of fun with it. A lot of fun. So, how does the game perform? That is what we are here to talk about today. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to talk about handheld. We're going to talk about dock. We're going to have footage for both. And we are going to talk a little bit about our overall thoughts on the game. With all that out of the way, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We have a Twitter link in the description where we can go follow us. And that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and talk about how Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 runs and performs, both handheld and docked. Let's do it. The first thing I want to talk about here is the game's docked performance. That is how I have been spending the majority of my time with it. I streamed for 3 hours, played another couple, just docked, sitting back on my own before I even got into handheld, so I have a pretty good feeling for how it all functions. I have seen an occasional dip here and there in the frame rate, but it's barely noticeable. There are times where there are a ton of enemies on the screen and it never drops any frames. I'm going to mix in some footage here that's direct feed so you can take a look for yourself. As far as the frame rate goes, let's talk about that for a second. I don't believe it to be 60 FPS. I don't have a way to measure it, but it does seem like it hovers somewhere around 30 above. It doesn't ever really go below. I do have to say that as far as the frame rate, there is zero issues. Okay, you're not going to have any concerns with that. I have yet to reach any point in the game where there has been a ton of dips. Again, some of these boss fights do get pretty crazy. There's bombs all over. There's dozens of enemies on screen sometimes. Some of the boss fights are crazy big and pretty epic, honestly. There's like smoke and other effects everywhere, and it's been able to hold up very well. And I think that the art style has something to do with it. Yes, it's not what you remember Ultimate Alliance looking like, but I think some concessions had to be made in order for it to run well on Switch, and they've made it happen. You can change the camera to heroic, and I guess I should stop and talk about the camera a little bit because I feel like that's kind of part of performance. The camera can be wonky. The camera is not perfect. In fact, the camera can be annoying. Here you see me switch over to the heroic cam, and when you're in open spaces, heroic cam is the way to go. But if you're in a confined space, like in a small room with a boss, you are not going to want to use heroic cam. It is terrible. You are not going to be able to see what's going on, so do be mindful of the camera. I switch back and forth a decent amount, something that I really wasn't expecting at all, and I recommend that you guys do too. Of course, whatever middle ground you find, however you feel comfortable, that's how you should play. But for me, the heroic cam when we are in open spaces like this is what works best. And when I am in more enclosed rooms, just switch on over to the other camera and it is perfectly fine. Another thing I wanted to talk about, people were asking if you can like get rid of the outlines around the characters, and you absolutely can. There is a setting that you can get in there and just remove those outlines. It looks better? Question mark? It's all preference. For me, I like the default style of it. You can also get rid of the numbers popping up. There is options for that in the menus. You can go do that for yourselves. But for me, I like the default look of it with the numbers, with the outlines around the characters, and changing the camera every once in a while. As far as the resolution, no complaints. The game looks good as you're seeing on screen. I've had a tremendous amount of fun with it. The game is really addicting. I am loving the fan service. So many characters, even the mini bosses that I had no idea were in the game. Every time one pops up, I'm like, oh my god, he or she is in the game. Wow. And then it just keeps on going from there. Cutscenes look really cool. Once you get used to the art style, you're going to be fine. I don't think that anyone is going to have any real major complaints. I've seen people say that it looks like a mobile game. I wholeheartedly disagree. I don't think it looks like a mobile game at all. Obviously, if you want more detailed specs, wait for Digital Foundry. They're going to do a really good job of analyzing so much. They have incredible tools to analyze both dynamic resolution and the frame rate. But as far as here, right now, I don't think you're going to have anything to worry about this game as far as these things go. Okay, we're going to show you some handheld footage in a minute, but I just wanted to assuage any fears that you have. The game looks good. The game sounds good. The voices are so good for some of the characters. Honestly, it's a little bit of a mixed bag with others. I think that the Luke Cage voice is one that I don't like. Proxima Midnight, I do not like what they did with the voice there, but for me, Peter Parker is perfect. It's the same voice actor from the PlayStation 4 version of the Spider-Man game. I believe his name is Yuri. So they did awesome with that. Venom is great. There is a lot to love here. So I'm really, really digging the performance here as far as it goes with dock. But let's move on over to handheld now and talk about how it runs over there. All right, let's talk about handheld. Straight off the bat, handheld is not my favorite way to play this game. Not because it runs bad or anything. It's still very stable as far as everything we've been talking about with frame rate and the resolution. It looks good. The only issue is the camera zooms back so far sometimes that it's like really hard to see what's going on. The game does allow you to play with your friends locally. I cannot imagine setting this thing up in tabletop and playing with everybody locally. You're just not going to be able to keep track of what's going on. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think that it's totally playable. You're not going to hate playing in handheld, but as far as my preference goes, I definitely prefer docked with this one. At any given time, you have 4 characters on screen on top of all the enemies. It can be a little bit much, so I do want to let you know that. At least for me, that's the experience I found that I had, but you shouldn't worry about dropping frames or anything like that. The game still runs well. It's just that the screen is so tiny, and when the camera zooms like back that far, it's impossible to see anything. Looks like tiny little ants on my screen. So I wanted to make you guys aware of that. Frame rate still solid, still looks solid. Heroic camera is better in handheld mode for me because it's just way closer to your character. I recommend that. But other than that, I'm just going to leave you here with a couple of minutes of handheld footage. Decide, look for yourself. Let us know in the comments below how you are going to play the game. Are you excited to pick it up? The game's good, guys. The game is good. It's awesome. So no worries as far as that goes. Hopefully you've been enjoying the coverage. We will bring you much more. Thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Maybe even hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Twitter link is in the description. We will catch you on the next one. We appreciate each and every single one of you. SwitchForce out.
Whatever evil the hand is invoking can stay in hell. I'll send you there to greet it instead.
It is too late, assassin. The beast is coming.